Welcome to Course Management with Paige. We're going to talk about all things course management. First off, why is course management important? I see so many people losing shot after shot, 5 to 10 shots per round on bad course management. So I'm going to walk you through the golf course. So most amateur golfers, when they're playing golf, they don't even think about course management and how they should work their way through the golf course. They mostly will just grab their ball, grab their tee, probably grab a driver, stick it in the ground, and just hit it. And there's so much that goes into what to do on a tee box, what to do in a fairway, what to do around the greens, when to go for the pin, when not to go for the pin, where to tee up on the tee box. And so I'm going to walk you through all of that to help you shave shots off your score. Let's talk about how to find your distance. First off, getting a really nice rangefinder will help you. I remember back in my college days and junior golf days, I would have to walk it off, and that is so time consuming and difficult. And on top of that, you'll need a pin sheet. Save so much time and energy with getting a really nice rangefinder. I love my shot scope because it has a GPS on it, and so it will track all of your stats, which we're going to talk about tracking stats later because that really comes into play with your course management. So getting a really nice rangefinder, you can also get a GPS, watch, anything works, whatever is your personal preference. But when I first get to my golf ball, and I'll even do this on the tee, I will get my yardage, and you can look at the front, the middle, and the back. You want to see where the pin is. And if the pin is in the middle, all you need to do is just fire at that pin, and then you'll get your front yardage. And the front yardage is really important because most of the time when we hit a shot, it doesn't just land and stick, right? It will land and it will roll out depending on how firm or slow the greens are. So when you're on the practice facility, I want you to feel the greens. Are they rolling fast or are they rolling slow? This is so incredibly important because of how far or less your clubs will roll out on the green. So once you shoot the middle of the green, or you get your yardage if the pin is in the middle, then you're going to get your front yardage. This is important because, again, when you're looking at the pins, is the pin front? Is it middle? Or is it back? Most golf carts will have GPS and you can see where the pin is, or they'll have a pin sheet. Is it in the first, second, or third tier? This is so incredibly important because from the fairway, it's hard to tell where the pin is. And so using a pin sheet is vital to know, is the pin forward, middle, or back? This will also help determine if you go for the pin or not. If the pin is really front, you don't want to short side yourself. And when I say short side yourself, leave the ball in front of the pin off the green and you have this really touchy, difficult shot. So you're actually going to look for the middle yardage, not the front yardage. With a middle pin, you can kind of go for it because you have room in the front and the back to work with. When the pin is in the back of the green, you want to make sure you don't fly it because you're going to short side yourself behind the green. So looking at the pin location, using your pin sheet and your rangefinder will all help you find the perfect yardage on where you want to hit it. One thing to consider is we're not all pros, right? And so when you fire at the pin and it says 123 yards, do we actually know that we're going to hit it exactly 123 yards? I don't know yet. And don't feel bad if you are not totally dialed in with your irons yet. If you're a little inconsistent and you have a 5 to 10 yard range of where you're hitting your irons, don't worry about it. Just fire towards the middle of the green all the time. This is a really great drill that you can do where you just go for the middle of the green. Don't even think about any other yardage, just fire towards the middle of the green and you're going to save so many shots by doing so. After you get your distance, there are a lot of factors that you have to take into consideration. Let's talk about what you do when you get to your golf ball after you get your distances. So the first thing I like to do is check what the weather is doing. Is it rainy? Is it windy? How cold is it? Because that all plays a factor in how far your ball is going to go. So what I like to do is grab some grass, throw it up, and see where the wind is going. Or it In my case, I can use my hair. It is going this way. After that, if it is going into you, downwind, left to right, right to left, you're going to assess, is it a 1 club change, half a club, could be up to 2 clubs. This takes just a lot of practice and knowing what the ball does in the wind. I love to go out on the driving range when it's windy to see how it's really affecting the golf ball. It could be a 5 to 10 yard change. It could really move your golf ball in one way or another. So it takes time, it takes practice, but the more you get out there in bad conditions, you'll know what the golf ball is doing. So after I throw the grass up and I will assess, okay, that is 5 yards into the wind. That's about half a club for me. I'm then going to look at my lie and see, is it in the fairway? Is it in the rough? If it's in the rough, that will affect how far the ball will go. Different lies are going to affect the ball in different ways. If it is sitting up, we call that a flyer lie because there's not much grass that's getting into the way and it's almost like it's sitting on a tee. So with a flyer lie, it could go 5 to 10 yards farther. And if we are into the wind 5 yards, it's probably going to even out to be your normal distance. After we assess the lie, if it's in the fairway, is it a tight fairway lie? Is it just maybe a little bit wet if it was rainy? Again, all of that comes into play. Is it below my feet or above my feet? That will also affect how far the ball will go. If it is above my feet, I'm going to have to choke down. That's also going to move the shot shape from right to left. If it's below my feet, it's going to do the opposite. It's going to move from left to right. So you really have to take in all of these factors when you're looking at your shot. So you get your distance, you check the weather, you check your lie, and then you're good to go. You got your distance, you factored in all of the other conditions, and let's pick a club now. This is personal preference. So if I am between 2 clubs, let's say a 7 and a 6 iron, I love to grab my 6 iron and swing a little bit easier on it. I like to have what is called my B swing. My A swing is when I'm feeling confident and great and everything is firing on all cylinders, but that happens maybe 1 out of 100 rounds when we're lucky. And so having a really good B swing is going to keep you in control. By staying in control, you can grab a longer club and swinging a little bit easier on it. When you take the shorter club and you try to kill it, it can get a little out of control and it's just harder to find the center of the club face. So I recommend taking the longer club. You can choke down, have more of a compact swing, and it's going to help you find the center of the club face. Especially when it is really windy or with bad weather conditions, taking a longer club and having more control is always the play. If you are under pressure and the adrenaline is pumping, that is the exception where you can take the shorter club. You're going to be fired up and sometimes having to slow your body down isn't going to work for you. So work with your body, know how you're feeling, and also know how you act under pressure. Some people like to have their adrenaline and to use their adrenaline. I've always been the opposite and I like to control it, but listen to your body and see what works best for you. If you like to use that adrenaline, you can hit the shorter club. If you just want a little bit more control, which I think is the smarter play, take the longer club. Let's nail down your pre-shot routine. This is so incredibly important to the process of hitting a great golf shot. When you look at the pros on tour, they have a perfect pre-shot routine that comes down to the seconds. Having a perfect pre-shot routine helps you under pressure and also stay consistent with difficult golf shots. If there is a golf shot that's making you a little bit nervous, maybe there's water out there, some OB, maybe you're playing in a member guest, having a pre-shot routine that you can stay consistent with is going to keep you calm and confident. If you don't have one, you're kind of all over the place and it will change all the time. And so this is what I like to do for my pre-shot routine. We've done everything that we need to do and we have pulled the club that we are confident with. At this point, I want you to know that this is the club and have full confidence in the club that you picked. Next, I want you to visualize the shot you want to hit. Maybe it's a high draw, a little low punchy stinger. Maybe it's just your stock shot, your A shot, your B shot, whatever it may be. I want you to visualize it. After you visualize it, I want you to feel it in your body. And so when you're feeling it, that's what you're doing with your practice swings. Don't just take practice swings just because you're supposed to take them. Feel the shot, feel exactly what it's doing. You can close your eyes, but I want you to feel it through your entire body. After you feel confident with that, after you visualize it, you can see it and you can feel it, I want you to step back behind the golf ball. After you step back, I want you to work on your alignment. Alignment can be so incredibly difficult, but this is what I love to do. So I like to pick the target out. Maybe it's the pin, maybe it's a tree in the background. It can be whatever you want it to be. I will pick my target, I will use my most dominant eye, and I will trace the club back to a point on the ground. Sometimes it's very difficult to find a target that's so far away and to line up to it. So drawing it back and finding a spot on the ground will really help you with your alignment. So after you find that spot, I want you to step back and take one big deep breath. You can do one or two, but this will really help calm you down. When you take this deep breath, I don't want you to go, that's not going to release any of the tension. I want you to breathe from your stomach. So you can put your hand on your stomach and I want you to go. As soon as you let go all of that air, you are ready to go. You find your spot on the ground. You set the club to that spot. You set your feet then to your target. You can look once or twice, how many times it feels comfortable to you. And then that's it. When you're setting over the ball, I don't want you to think of anything else. I want you to think of the shot that you're hitting and I want you to feel the golf shot. I don't want you to go, there's OB left, there's water right, I'm nervous, I don't know what I'm going to do. No, none of that negative self-talk. As soon as you are in your pre-shot routine, you don't think about anything negative. After that deep breath, you are fully committed, you are dialed in on your target, and that's all you focus on. After that, you execute the shot. It might work, it might not work, but do not change your pre-shot routine. That is your pre-shot routine. Practice this on the driving range. That's what I want you to do. When you're out on the driving range, practice this over and over and over again, and you will never change your pre-shot routine. So dial it in, get it going, and feel confident. Let's talk about how to keep your stats. This is so important to lowering your scores because most people don't realize what they are bad at and where they're losing their shots. You could be like, oh, I'm terrible with my irons. Well, you're bad with your irons because you're not hitting fairways. And you could say, oh, I'm bad with my putting. Well, it's because you're not hitting greens. And so knowing exactly where you're losing your shots is so important. If you don't want to invest and get a rangefinder and they can keep all their stats for you, then you can do it just on your scorecard. I used to do this in college all the time. We were actually forced to keep our stats, again, because it really does help you improve and know where your weaknesses are. On your scorecard, you're going to have a check mark for the fairway that you hit, a check mark if you hit the green, and then how many putts that you have. If you miss the fairway, you're going to put an L for left, not because you're a loser, it's because you hit it left, and an R for right. And on the scorecard for the green, I want you to put it on where you missed it because with the double L's, it could get a little confusing. But if you put the L in the top back corner, then you know that you missed it long. And then if you missed the green, I want you to then keep where you missed it. Did you hit it in a bunker? Did you just miss it short side? Again, keep all those stats. And of course, your putts. How many putts did you have? Is it a 1, 2, 3? Hopefully not a 4, but that can happen as well. And then just put that down. At the end of the round, you're going to tally it all up, and that's how you keep your stats. I think you're going to be so surprised on where you're actually missing out your shots. I always thought that I was terrible with my irons, and my long irons, they're not great. And so I always practice them for that reason, but I mostly am not giving myself good looks at the green because I am missing my drives. So I am in the trees, I can't find it sometimes and it's bad. And so you're not setting yourself up for success. And so I know that I have to work off the tee to improve my iron game and my full swing play. So again, it really comes down to knowing what your weaknesses are and then practicing your weaknesses. I think we all want to work on what we're best at, but if you want to break 100 or 90 or 80 or 70, it comes down to keeping your stats and practicing your weaknesses.